Good. Alright. Okay, kaya di naman kayo inaantok. Ilan yung participants online? Just so, gusto ko lang magka-idea kung ilan yung nakikinig sa akin. Kung ano dapat yung tono ko. Baka nire-record na pala ako. Pin-post na pala ako. So, kalokohan na sinasabi. Anyway, yung discussion ko here would be more general. Hindi, I won't go into details. I think Aries and Eldon covered a lot of concepts, a lot of theory. The focus of my talk will be mostly on the business side of things, the startup life, dealing with our customers or with the problems on the ground and building solutions for that. Pero on a more general perspective to, I won't go into detail on yung specifics of what we're doing in Mobility Vision Plus. We'll have a lot of time after kung may questions kayo. Kung gusto nyo malaman specifically, just ask. Um, pero yung talk ko won't be too much about Mobility Vision Plus. Kasi masyado ng specific yung ginagawa namin doon. And I don't know if you'll appreciate it. So I want to keep it on a general level about the fundamentals of how an idea can become successful if you pursue it, right? Because at the end, ideas are useless if you cannot execute on them. If it's just an idea, everyone has an idea. Pero are they willing to actually pursue that? Uh, is that idea even useful for anyone or the problem you're dealing with? Masosolve nyo ba yung real issues dun sa sector wherever you will focus on? I mean, obviously, I think for this challenge, it's on mobility, but at least I think this one is applicable even if uh, at some point you become professionals. I think mga ano no, are you mostly college ba or high school? So everyone here sa venue is college. Okay. Anong degrees, anong courses? Data, anong university? May data science yung ako. Interesting. Kayo, computer science. Ay, walang civil. Interesting. Kasi mobility, transportation is under, uh, actually, well, technically it's under civil engineering. Archi, I don't know. It really depends, I guess. University, I think USC has some transportation stuff, but not that much. See, PUP ata yung may transport management, if I remember correctly. Anyway, so the topic is on business solutions in urban mobility, um, innovations and its impact, right? Uh, Kasi may difference yun eh. There's a big difference between pursuing something purely for profit. Usually kasi there are certain things you can pursue short-term for profit, but yung impact niya na societal level is really not that much. The most difficult aspect is trying to pursue something that has such a big social impact, pero profitable siya. That's what we're doing in Mobility Vision Plus. That's why it's so hard, super stressful, but that's why you have to be prepared for it. It's not enough na you have an advocacy, I don't know, you want to push for bike lanes or something. Pero kung wala kang plano kung paano i-execute yung idea na yun to get the buy-in of all of the stakeholders involved, you just end up ranting on any platform that you can, to be honest. Anyway, so I'll focus on three topics in or categorization of my topics. Yung fourth part is I want to focus more dun sa open discussion. If you have questions, you might have very basic questions. I'm very open to discussing those. Gusto ko kasi malaman, ano ba yung gusto niyong malaman? Hindi yung ano sa tingin ko yung gusto niyong malaman. I'll talk about briefly about like again fundamentals of how to tackle an idea in the sector of mobility, and then we'll have an open discussion. The first point will be about the role of AI and data science in sustainable mobility innovation. Second is the business solutions in urban mobility. I'll talk about like different companies, kung ano ba yung ginagawa nila. Mostly startups, hindi mga traditional na rail companies. I mean, those are very traditional companies. There's nothing startup-y about railway companies. You just need huge capital to have a railway business. Third part is your customers' needs and problems. Kasi at the end, in whatever solutions you come up with, they need to be addressing your customers' needs. Hindi yung kasi trip mo lang. Hindi yung, okay, maganda tong idea, gusto ko i-pursue kasi it's an interesting solution. Hindi dapat ganun. It should be an interesting problem. And your solution might not be as exciting, but it actually solves a problem, right? And that's actually, yun yung magkakaroon ka ng business case on that, right? That's actually the type of solution you can sell to people, to sell to organizations or government. Kasi may sinasolve kang big problem nila. Hindi yung other way around. I think that is the biggest weakness we have worldwide na in academics, we come up with a lot of solutions pero yung problema wala naman. Di nag-exist yung problem na yun. A lot. I mean, Europe, where I mostly worked so far in my career, it was also like that. And kaya actually, that was partly why I came back to the Philippines. Kasi the things I was working on, konting background lang din, like in 2016, when I was, yun ata eh, that was my first job, 2016. We were working on like autonomous vehicles, paano tayo magta-transition to autonomous vehicles. But that's like 50 years away, right? Like, so yung mga problems dun, wala siya masyadong problems about mobility, to be honest. But in the Philippines, lumabas ka lang dito, may problema na kagad, right? So that was one of the reasons I was like, yeah, maybe it makes more sense to just come back here, figure it out here while I'm young. Maybe when I'm 40, I might just go back. I don't know. But for now, we're here trying to tackle the most difficult problems that we have. All right. So number one, what is the role of AI and data science, right, in the mobility problems we have in the sustainable mobility solutions that we want to come up with? Ano ba yung subtopics in mobility that can be addressed with the application of AI or data science? So first thing I did was, kita ba to? Baka hindi kita eh. So essentially, I asked ChatGPT tsaka si Claude AI. But what's the role of AI and data science in increasing road safety and sustainable mobility and development and all of these things? Just to compare, ano ba yung repository nila of everything they've trained on. I think ChatGPT is on the left. More or less, they had a lot of similarities. They focused on intelligent transport systems, which is mostly focused on yung mga traffic signal lights natin or other sensors that we have, whether they're camera, I don't know, on the road, we have usually may tinatawag na loop detectors where they measure the number of vehicles going through that area. So that's intelligent transport systems. Predictive traffic management, yung predictive traffic management is part of intelligent transport systems. They also mentioned autonomous vehicles. That's another application of AI. Actually, one of the earliest applications of AI was in autonomous driving because a lot of autonomous driving is based on cameras. Tesla, for example, is I think only company still until now that primarily uses cameras. Tinatry nila i-avoid yung other sensors. Kaya daw nila lahat with cameras, which is not true. But whatever Elon wants to do, he can do. The other one was yung similar sa kanila was for public transportation. So like some of the applications na minention ni Eris kanina, that's one of the applications. There are applications of how you can utilize AI and data science or software development for public transport fleet management or optimization or real-time information systems for travelers and these things. Tapos yung mga pinagkaiba lang nila na tatlo was this. So Claude said, predictive maintenance for infrastructure. That's a very interesting field, I think, nowadays, especially if you want to solve the issues of ano pa yung lifespan ng isang infrastructure, right? If you monitor that at the same time with, I don't know, traffic volume, naka-classify siya, ilang trucks ba dumadaan sa area na to, over time, you can build like a good prediction model to to predict when is the next maintenance period. Hindi yung hihintayin mong bumagsak na yung tulay, tsaka mo lang ayusin. Which unfortunately, in the Philippines, ganyan yung ano natin, yung cycle natin sa changes. We wait for a, I don't know, deadly crash to happen or for an infrastructure to fail so badly that many people get injured or they die from those incidents hanggang may babago or pinaka-favorite yung sisirain na kalsada habang maayos pa. Right? I don't know if that's predictive maintenance. Baka pwedeng i-predict yung behavior ng mga politicians. Um, Another topic was for pedestrian and cycling safety. So dito, it was yung application na specify dyan is the possibility of automatically assessing yung safety ng streets natin. How safe is it for pedestrians? How safe is it for cyclists? Public transport? I mean, all even for cars even. Right? Kung meron kayong camera and you have a maintenance team that goes around regularly. Like for example, si NLEX, may maintenance team siya na they traverse NLEX every day. Yeah, pwedeng kabitan ng camera yun. And then every day, pwede nila i-compare nagkaroon ba ng changes, nagkaroon ba ng damages sa kalsada. Right? Much easier yun. Kasi instead na pumunta ka doon, i-measure mo isa-isa, at least sa video, kahit nasa office ka, mababalikan mo. And sometimes, if tagitan mo ng AI that automatically detects those road infrastructure issues, then it simplifies the task. And the last one, the more interesting one for me and Mobility Vision Plus is the data-driven urban planning. There's a possibility that this actually came from Mobility Vision Plus. Kasi when ChatGPT was launched in late 2021, tama ba? Or 22, I don't remember anymore. But like 2 months after nun, I was already using ChatGPT and feeding it whatever data or knowledge I had. Kasi ako nagde-develop end-to-end nung lahat ng platform namin at that time. Now, mga 90% na lang. Pero at that time, I was a heavy ChatGPT user. Ever since nagkaroon sila ng paid version, I already got it. Because it could replace a few software developers. It was more a business decision than not wanting to hire developers. Wala kasing pera at the beginning. So, you have to be resourced. So, magkano lang ba si ChatGPT? It's just $20 per month. Hindi ako affiliated sa kanila. Pero, so it's just $20 per month. Pero yung ability ko to create tools multiplied by, I don't know, 20 times probably. Right? Kasi instead na ako, initially, background ko was really data science. I could do Python, but I didn't know how to develop an app, a mobile app, right? But with this guy, uh, na-enable ako. I was able to actually figure it out very fast. Kasi ang laking tulong niya. That's actually part of a solution. Yung solution natin is not just thinking about, may conflict dito sa kalsada, lalagyan ako ng protection yung kalsada. That's also part of a solution, using the tools necessary out there to enable you to actually build something different that dati di mo pa nakaya. Kaya actually, one rule namin sa Mobility Vision Plus, whoever I hire or mentor in Movi, they need to use ChatGPT. If you don't use ChatGPT, I'll just ignore you. Kasi majority of the things I do myself, I first iterate it with ChatGPT whether it makes sense or not. Ganun usage naman eh. Hindi ko naman sinasabi, i-copy-paste niya yan. Ganyan. It's just to enable you to think faster, build faster, fail faster, all at the same time. Anyway, pero yung main role talaga if we were to generalize the usage of AI and data science for us, are these three, right? It helps us with faster and better data collection. Kasi to give you a comparison, nakita niyo ba yung pinost ng MMDA kung paano sila nagbibilang? Nakita niyo ba yun? Yung with a clicker. So that's one method, right? That's one method, extremely inefficient. And then you have like AI, computer vision tools, which we utilize as well to get the traffic counts. That's one way, right? Mamaya I can discuss about why those manual counters still exist, and they will probably still exist. Hindi siya agad-agad mawawala. It's more a structural problem in government and kung paano ba yung structure ng hiring within these departments. Kasi masyado mababa yung technical capacity. And it's a political decision to keep people in those positions. Kasi it's political. So we have to deal with it. Especially if you want to be in the sector of mobility, you cannot avoid being not political. If you avoid it, better just shift to a different field. Yun lang yun. If you want to fix the transportation issues, you need to understand paano ba ako maipag-deal sa government? Paano ba ako maipag-deal dito sa politician na to na wala namang kwentang kausap? Those are part of the chat problems, actually. It's a game. Think of it as a game. I mean, that's why I'm in this area because I'm thinking about all of this as a game. Everyone is a player. Everyone has an interest. Paano ba natin, how can we get everyone together to, come up with a solution? Usually there's always a compromise. Obviously, I know all of everything that's good for us, pero hindi siya implementable agad eh. There are many factors that are beyond the technology. It's mostly how do you engage with people. Second part is the analysis. Usually kasi, sa mga LGUs, or even private companies, to be honest, they have data. So natapos na nila yung first step, they collect data, they have a good repository of different data. They have zero clue about how to analyze this data. Right? Like kahit yung traffic counts, di nga nila alam paano gamitin yun for analysis. Eh. Beyond the actual numbers, they don't know what that actually means. Like even though if you look at MMD data about our major corridors, you can obviously see that the major cause of traffic is the volume of cars, but that's not their analysis. Kasi they don't know how to analyze it. That's the main issue. So with the help of AI, it becomes faster. Like if we want to analyze things, if we build systems, we can build systems faster with the help of different tools that exist. And these systems we build, we can show it to the LGUs and hopefully they appreciate it. And kasi sinasolve yung problem nila na, okay, paano ko ba i-analyze tong data nito? And the last part is the most important, is actions. Di ba kanina sabi ni Eldon, majority of his work, he really deals with implementation challenges, with coordination, with implementing policy making and infrastructure deployment, ganyan. And yun naman talaga role ng government eh. Kaso ang nangyayari sa atin, lahat nito, tinatry natin ipasa sa government. Maybe if we get to the level of the Netherlands, sure, the government can do it on its own, but we won't get there for the next 30 years for sure. Di tayo abot dun. Unless biglang, I don't know, miraculously sobrang yumaman yung Pilipinas and at dumami investments. But realistically, we can't, hindi kaya lang gawin ng government without the support of startups like us or with the academic partners who do a lot of work with the government. Pero dito, kaya ito yung most important, faster data-driven actions. Kasi instead na pinoproblema mo, ano yung data yung kailangan mo, napabilis na lahat yun. Instead na yung study mo takes 2-3 years, which is the normal duration, to be honest, if you've seen some government work. Um, you can speed it up with the help of AI and data science. Right? That's very important kasi yung cycle of nangyayari, especially if you look at our political cycle, nag-election every 3 years for mayor. Sobrang short-sighted talaga nila. Hindi po, kailangan obviously mabago yun systematically, pero sobrang short-sighted nila. Kaya if we want to propose solutions, we need to be able to uh, conduct studies really fast. We cannot afford to wait 2 years kasi in 2 years, iniisip na niyan yung next elections. Wala na siya dun sa time na medyo relax pa siya. He can actually think of solutions. I mean, we do have some mayors who are progressive. Obviously, in the provinces, it's more challenging. Pero we do have some champions in the government, like si Eldon, yung team nila. They do really hard work within the ecosystem of the OTR. But we do have some good people now in the government in comparison to like 10 years ago. We just need to find ways to support them in implementation of their projects, right? But one of the most important things is in the age of AI, people should be the metric, right? Like binanggit din to nila kanina, like the way we measure things should be in terms of how many people get to places. Hindi about how many cars can go through a certain intersection, through a certain corridor. Kunwari ito, our mobility issue really is is a space problem, right? Lagi natin sinasabi, wala na tayong space in our streets, wala na tayong pag-asa, which is not true. I mean, obviously, different perspectives, shallow-minded people would say, wala nang pag-asa. But it's also because a lot of things in transportation, hindi siya direct, if that makes sense. Like, kunwari, yung impact ng transportation to the economy is not direct. Right? People don't understand that if you provide accessibility using any type of mode, mas mag-flourish yung economy. People don't understand it. And kasi nga, our brains are not wired in such a way to comprehend things after the first step. You need to study more to understand that. So that, but anyway, just going back to this is a very nice picture in Dubai. Certain, uh, certain, certain individuals, very popular professionals, would say this is sustainable, and they actually brag about that. This is sustainable. It's obviously not, kasi yung space na kinokonsume nito, it's way too much. I don't even know how big. I think this is like at least a 3 kilometer radius in entire interchange na to. And this is like within the city, right? And then with this configuration, I mean, obviously depende kung saan nagko-connect to. Kaya yung estimate ko sobrang laki ng range. 20K to 100K people per day yung nakakadaan dyan. But if we look at this, this is the central station of Munich. Nasa gitna din to ng city. But the amount of people that it carries is way more than yung space na inallocate dito. Obviously, Dubai is a desert. Kaya ang dami. Kaya kung ano-ano lang ginagawa doon. But this is the more realistic solution, right? Because Munich is an old city, heavily dense. I mean, not as dense as us, but still dense, right? It's a very urban area. Nasa city center talaga yung train station na to. But it's a good use of space because it's transporting a lot of people. Tapos, you only need like about 20% of the space to accommodate all of the railway infrastructure that we need. Just focusing on the metrics of what should be our metrics when we want to build solutions for mobility. Just remember the Mobility Vision Plus cards, which is very similar to what Eldon said. Kasi yung sinabi ni Eldon is specific to cycling infrastructure or cyclists. But this one, it's applicable to all modes, essentially. First, connected, yeah, connected or cohesive, as mentioned earlier. Whatever system you build, it needs to be connected. If there are disconnections, that's a big weakness. Di ba, kunwari pag nagko-commute tayo from one city to the other, oftentimes, kailangan mo bumaba sa border ng city, lilipat ka na naman. So, those are connected but not really. Kasi instead na dire-diretso na lang yung biyahe mo, lumilipat ka pa. Right, so that's connected. Accessible or attractive. This is more about the factors that influence you to use a certain mode. Like, kunwari, yung decision mo for pupunta ka lang sa 7-Eleven, maybe it's 500 meters away, yung meron pang enough infrastructure to make it desirable for you to walk. Or the other option is na gumamit ka na ng tricycle kasi hindi siya safe enough to walk. Right? That's the attractiveness tsaka accessible part. Reliability is in relation to, yan, yung binanggit ko kanina, sa public transport usually. Since wala tayong information about where these vehicles are, and since majority of the time, yung naiipit lang din yung mga jeepneys, mga buses, kasi wala silang segregated lane, hindi sila reliable. You cannot rely on it on a daily basis. We're wasting so much time. Sobrang not hindi resilient yung ano natin, yung transport natin, di ba? Pag randomly, I remember back when was it? When I was doing my internship from as a DOTR 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Sa Makati ako nakatira, pero sa Ortigas yung office. Eh, yung bus kasi sa Makati, sa may Buendia, nagpupuno na sila sa may LRT. Nandito ako sa may, di ko alam yung areas. Malapit na ako sa SLEX area. Pagdating sa SLEX kasi, laging puno na lahat yan. Walang dumadaan sa area namin. May times na 2 hours na ako nakatayo, hindi pa rin ako makasakay at that time. So that's reliability. Is that reliable? So nag-end up nag-taxi na lang ako kahit masakit sa 3,000 pesos na allowance ko sa DOT. But you know, at least that part, kaya ako nag-taxi because that was the most reliable option for me to get to where I need to be. Right? So that for any mode, that's important. Kunwari, kung magkaroon tayo ng nationwide na micromobility service, si Mover, are you familiar with Mover sa BGC? Hindi. No? You don't know that? So siya yung electric kick scooters that you can rent, the e-bikes that you can rent. So yun, may reliability challenge din yun once if we have it, hopefully if we have it nationwide at some point, but we need bike lanes for that to work. Ang reliability nun, okay, pag bumaba ba ako sa condo or apartment or bahay mo, meron na ba agad dyan sa hilok na isa na pwede kong gamitin? That's like one way to look at it. Another point is directness. All of whatever mode you use, if you provide directness, which essentially converts to time, it becomes more attractive. Marami ngayon nagbabike instead na magkotse or nag-scooter instead na magkotse kasi mas mabilis yung travel time. Right? And on our major corridors, we do, to a certain extent, have some bike lanes. Obviously, it's still very risky. I would not, I won't encourage people to take up the mode unless it's actually safe. I would tell them it's up to you. You can risk it if you want. But we're not there yet. And that brings me to the last point, safety, right? Any type of mode, especially with cycling, time and time and again, any research around the world, if you look at it, the main factor really is safety. Kalimutan natin yung weather. People think weather is actually the biggest factor for cycling. It's not. It's safety. Kasi kung safe yan, siguro 100% protected yung mga lanes natin. 100% within 1 year, at least magdo-double yung magbabike. Kasi mas mabilis eh. I think it's just that. Is it faster and is it 100% safe? Right. And if you look at it, if you look at the safety aspect, kaya pag tinignan mo yung gender disparity of motorcycle users, 95% are men. Why is that? Because motorcycling is really dangerous, right? But it's that's not to say actually men don't want a safer option. It's just that they're willing to take the risk of dying. Actually, 35% of our deaths on the roads are motorcyclists. They're willing to take that risk kasi it's reliable. Yung travel time niya with motorcycle, I often lagi ako naipag-usap sa mga barbero ko. Tinatanong ko sila parate, like, how do they get to places? And sinasabi na, pag motor kasi 1 oras lang, pero kung mag-commute sila, 3 oras. Right? So, kaya itong metrics na to, use it in whatever solutions you want to come up with. Ito yung metrics for whatever mode, for example, if you that you want to recommend. Um, ito, ano to, for demonstration purposes lang to. There are a lot of factors influencing the way people make decisions, right? Itong some examples dito is infrastructure supply. Meron bang greenery dyan? May protected sidewalk ba dyan? Traffic, signalized intersection ba yan? And all of these factors, traffic demand, supply, environmental factors, social, economic, all of these factors, they have a role in how we make decisions, right? And with data science, we can create nice prediction models to understand, to infer ano ba yung choices ng mga tao. There are also traditional statistical methods that you can use. But if we have a lot of data, why not just use machine learning? Right? Yun naman yung advantage in when you have tons of data. You can just crunch those figures and see ano ba yung interrelations sa mga yun. Right? Okay, so that's a part about yung role ng AI and data science in how it helps us come up with like mobility solutions. Second part is the business solutions in urban mobility. Ito more ano lang to, ano tawag doon, anecdotal lang to, majority of this. So here I just put up some logos of different companies. Obviously, hindi to comprehensive. It's just the ones na naisip ko kagabi, nilagay ko na lang dyan. So I've categorized like these are solutions. These are technological solutions to problems. So I've categorized them into 5. Automotive, mobility services. Mobility services is mga ride-hailing companies, and yeah, essentially ride-hailing companies or car-sharing companies. Delivery services, those are still part of mobility kasi that's a logistical problem. Ang transportation naman hindi lang people movement yung concern, pati the movement of goods is a major concern. Another sector is the planning tech and infrastructure tech. Planning tech is the solutions we come up with to help transport planners, urban planners. And infrastructure tech is ano ba yung dinedeploy mo na physical infrastructure. Or maybe it could be a digital infrastructure. It could be a back-end infrastructure that helps you control traffic signals. Like ito yung ginagawa neto ni X-Traffic. And Mobility Vision Plus, we're like a mix of planning tech and infrastructure tech. I mean, we're a really young startup, so we might eventually go up this, or we might encroach the other categories. But sa automotive, I'm just gonna give you an idea. This is for you to get ideas of anong meron na, what exists in the space, what different solutions exist. In the next slide, I'll talk about ano ba yung sustainability nila. No, actually, I'll just go to the next slide. Ay, kasi nandito lang din yun. So this is just on the x-axis, it's the sustainability and mobility impact, but you can also change it to social impact and sustainability in business, whether financially sustainable ba yung product nila, yung technology na deploy nila. So if we start from here, Si X-Traffic kasi. Si X-Traffic is also, I think they only launched a few months ago. Hindi fit, ano yun, it's a San Francisco-based company. Kunwari sila, they offer AI to manage the traffic signals, right? The main reason kung bakit dyan ko sila nilagay, well, obviously they're a startup. Kaya lahat ng young startups, they're low in the business sustainability because we don't know whether it's gonna work or not. Pero on the side of mobility impact, um, our networks worldwide, our road transport networks, konti lang yung impact niya in mobility, no matter how much you optimize the traffic signals. Like sa Cebu, most recently, sinabi nila nag-deploy sila ng some AI in one of their intersections. But that's absolutely useless. Kasi yung intersection na yun, tinignan ko, sobrang overcrowded na yun. It's already way beyond its capacity. When it's way beyond its capacity, whatever optimization you do, hindi madadagdagan yun. Kasi you can only have an X amount of vehicles going through a certain cycle time in an intersection. Kaya yung potential niya in terms of whether they can have real impact in terms of mobility of people is very low. But they could make a lot of money. It really just depends how they sell it. If they say, oh, we want to make all of your traffic lights smarter, then boom, maybe in 5 years, they become $1 billion company. Another one is Entra. Entra is in the same cohort as X-Traffic. They do transit planning in the US. So, kasi sa US, if you're not that familiar with, 90% of the people use a car, which is really bad. Kaya, yun yung hopeless. Yun yung hopeless na case. Kasi the way they designed their cities was designed for you to need a car. Pero yung cities natin dito sa Philippines, they're not designed for you to need a car. As much as we're being pretentious, like we have a lot of subdivisions within Metro Manila that make absolutely no sense. Like one of the biggest examples is Forbes Park. At its current state of what Metro Manila is today, Forbes Park makes no sense. But if you look historically, Forbes Park was at the periphery of the metropolitan area, right? So it was the suburban dream that the US was pushing everywhere in the world. And we have it. We have a lot of evidence of it. Or Ortigas, diba? Ortigas also was in the periphery way, way back when it was originally designed. But now it's in the middle of, it's a CBD. Right? So nagbago yung land use, nagbago yung, lumaki yung scope natin. Pero we're still retaining the same old principles right smack in the middle of our cities. Right? Kaya the congestion problem will never be solved. But the mobility problem can be solved. That's the biggest difference. So yung high time ng mga nagda-drive, the ones who drive a car. I mean, I also drive every now and then. It's already way in the past. Tapos na. I mean, the traffic flow speed is not going to improve anymore. Kaya sabi ni Yaris kanina, that shouldn't be the metric ng government agencies natin. You cannot speed up the traffic flow anymore. Kasi nga, nandun na tayo sa capacity. But we can move more people if we prioritize the right modes of transport. Yun, kayang-kaya pa yun, for sure. 100%. Ang ano nga natin sa Philippines, yung unique scenario natin, like Metro Manila or Metro Cebu, Davao, sobrang dense ng cities natin. So the Western cities, cities in Europe, in Germany, inggit sila sa atin kasi yung public transport dito, profitable. I mean, there's a reason jeepney drivers don't want to give up, right? I mean, not all of them, right? Meron talagang routes na wala talagang kita. But there's a reason kung bakit may resistance to changes. Kasi they make money from it. They make okay money. I mean, it's not financially sustainable, but still, if let's say overnight we overhaul the entire public transport system and only two people are operating it, two companies are operating it, yung cost between yung operations cost natin bababa, yung fares natin bababa, everyone's happy. At the end, ang kailangan i-service are the passengers, right? Hindi dapat tayo driver-centric. I mean, obviously, we have to provide them to make sure na just yung transition into nung work nila, if ever, they get displaced. But at the end, our metric, again, going back, it's the people, right? It's the people we serve. Okay. Tapos si Mober is actually a Filipino company. And they're a logistics company that are purely using electric trucks. They're quite sustainable in terms of mobility because those are much better than diesel trucks. Profitability, we don't know yet kasi as far as I understand, medyo mahal i-operate yung electric trucks in comparison to the diesel trucks. And then there's us. We any or the core of our system is really for sustainable transport. Um, yung approach namin on how we deal with the government, you can just ask me later. I won't mention it right now. But in terms of sustainability in business, we're not that high yet because we don't have that many clients yet. Right? Once we get more, maybe in the next year or two, then probably we can slowly climb up. Um, this is Lime. It's a micro mobility service. Sila yung biggest in the world. They do scooter sharing and e-bike sharing and profitable na sila actually, but not that much again. Yung micro mobility services kasi unless you can deploy in the entire city, it's not profitable. So yung si Mover sa BGC, they're not making any money. Yeah. Baka in the next few months wala na yun kasi hindi na nila masustain yung pag-maintain dun sa mga vehicles nila. Cruise is an autonomous driving car sharing system, I think. Again, in terms of mobility, that's still a car. It's quite inefficient to just have one person per vehicle. So in terms of mobility, social impact, it's not that much. Business-wise, I mean, they've already been bought out by I don't remember, some big company. Mobile Eye, which is owned by Intel. But the reason they were sold was because they were not making any money and they didn't want to continue it anymore. But they created something still useful for a different company who's willing to take the risk to carry on, to shoulder the expenses of the idea they came up with. Sarisuki, has anyone tried Sarisuki? Dito? Hindi. So si Sarisuki, I recommend it. Ano siya, farm to table product. It's a tech farm to table. It's an agri-tech. So they actually have their own farms. They also do the logistics. And yung price, and because they do that end to end, yung prices nila pang palengke price. I mean, if you have a business, it's even lower. And it's okay. I mean, it's not that reliable yet, but it's quite good. I would say the service. In terms of mobility, I mean, obviously, yung main ano naman nila hindi mobility, but it solves a big issue. Kasi ang daming middlemen who jack up the prices of goods. So they're still well positioned. Medyo bago lang din sila, kaya hindi pa sila ganun ka, but they make good money. I've heard they make quite a lot. They have a lot of funding, and I think they're the number one player so far sa Philippines. Delivery Hero, they're the owners of Food Panda actually. So I'll just leave it at that. They're okay. They're doing money, but making money, but a lot of delivery services they lost. They incurred a lot of losses after the pandemic. Kasi nakakalabas na yung mga tao. Angkas, they're quite profitable, but they're not sustainable. I just want to, it's not sustainable for people to rely on motorcycle taxis. They're very dangerous. If you go back to the safety aspect, 35% of this are motorcycles. They're not immune to it, whatever they claim. 99.999%. So that's still one death out of 10,000. Right? So, tapos hindi pa ano yun. Hindi pa transparent yun about kilometers traveled. Kasi you can have 1,000 trips which were 500 meters. Di ba? So you can, pwede ka pwede mo dayain yung ina-advertise mo na safety. And I have nurse friends sa St. Luke's na said, daming pumupunta sa kanila na naka-move it, naka-angkas, na bali-bali na yung katawan. Right? And then, ito, yung mga profitable ones, they're most, Grab or Transportify, may ano na kasi sila proven market na sila. They already have a big set of customers. So they're doing quite well. But then again, are they really beneficial for mobility? No, uh, um, they're just filling a gap because our public transport is bad, right? But in the long term, if we keep on relying on ride hailing, hindi siya sustainable. Even now, it's not sustainable. Waymo is the autonomous vehicle company of Google. They're the number one player in the world, kaya profitable sila. They only operate in San Francisco, as far as I understand at the moment. Um, but they're the number one player in the ecosystem. And they were one of the first users of AI in mobility. Kasi yung mga cameras, again, they use cameras, different sensors to fully automate yung, I think Ford yung kapartner nila na company. DoorDash is another delivery company. They're the number one player in the world, as far as I understand. In the US, they're the most popular app. I mean, Uber Eats, I think, comes second. And Transportify, they make a lot of money, pero they're just using traditional vehicles. Kaya hindi ko... si Mover yung direct kalaban nila. Right? So maybe they need to partner up. And si Move It, hindi ko wala nabanggit. Hindi hindi yung Move It ni Grab. Si Move It is marami siyang ginagawa eh. Actually, kagabi ko lang chinek ulit. They started as a travel information app. Uh, yeah, maps where you could check when I don't know if it works in the Philippines, probably not. Kasi saan nila kunin yung data. But they do a lot of things. They also do planning. They also create systems for government. They cover a lot of ground, and they're the only mobility as a service company that's profitable. Majority of mobility as service. That what that means is you have an app that you can use the app to book your entire trip. Kunwari, lumabas ka ng bahay, magta-tricycle ka, mag-jeep ka, tapos LRT, MRT, tapos trike ulit. Yung concept ng mobility as a service, with one ticket, you can use all of them. But so far, hindi siya proven to work globally. It's very challenging to work with different operators. Kaya sinasabi ko, it's not, sometimes, no matter how nice your tech is, kung hindi niya nasosolve yung systematic problems in the organizations, it's useless, it's garbage. Just throw that idea out. Kasi for you, it's good. But kaya ba i-sustain nung structure dun sa organization, yung pinopropose mong solution? So that's one thing that needs to be looked at. Wait, think I need to speed up. So ito, again, in terms of business solutions, similar to sa triangle ni Eldon, pero si Eldon nag-effort, ako kinopya ko lang. Pero if you follow this pyramid, inverted pyramid, dun nyo mababase kung ano ba yung social impact ng innovation nyo. If it's useful for active mobility, very high impact, right? Kasi yun yung most fundamental transport mode, quote unquote, na kailangan natin eh. We need to be able to walk everywhere. No questions asked. Sa buong Metro Manila, dapat walang putol na area dyan. The entire thing needs to be connected. Every corner may establishment eh. Bakit dapat hindi siya connected? So if you can provide, if you can come up with some ideas on those things, kung paano ba natin pwede ma-convince yung government to make those changes, then that's a high impact idea. And yeah, going down, if it's for public transport, still quite high. And then at the end is for planes, which is the least sustainable. But it's arguable for planes, no? Kasi like in the Philippine setup, hindi naman tayo, we're an archipelago eh. So it's very difficult to actually travel. Actually, wala nga boats dito eh. Kaya makita mo European yung gumawa eh. Ako na nga lang naglagay ng trike tsaka yung jeep. But boats should also be part of this actually, under public transport. And ito, maybe you need to be inspired by this. So from back then, it was so easy to walk everywhere, right? Yun talaga yung foundation eh, ng mobility natin. Back in 1800s, 1900s, yung main method to access areas was go for a walk, right? Hindi siya structured, you're not endangered kasi walang motorists. And the car companies, starting in the 1920s, lobbied so much to paint a bad picture of pedestrians. Kaya nagkaroon ng term na jaywalking. It was actually a J driver. Yun yung original usage na. A J driver essentially means a stupid driver. So tinransfer nila yon blame sa pedestrians kasi noong 1920s, nung nag-launch yung mga cars, there were a lot of road deaths. Kasi, I mean, if you guys drive, you know how it feels, right? Kasi parang you're in power when you're driving, right? Nakagalit siya pag pag gusto gumit-git sa'yo kasi you can feel the power of the car. So naturally, it makes you aggressive even if you don't want to be. Anyway, basta yan, if you want to think about paano yung social impact niya, just follow this pyramid. At the end, anything you think of, the goal of your innovation is you need to solve the problems and needs of your customer. And yan, actually, last two slides na to. Tumatalon. So, what I mean by that is, ito sa mga ginagawa namin sa Mobility Vision Plus. I had an interesting conversation with one of the city administrators sa Metro Manila. And we were discussing about installing some CCTV somewhere. And he asked me, isn't that too menial of a job for you to do, to train the staff? Kasi, syempre, kaya niya sinabi yun kasi based sa experience niya sa ibang consultants, ganyan, na ayaw may pag-deal with mga, low-level people. But if you think about, again, your customers' needs, as I said earlier, you need to understand yung structure ng organization na yun. If I want whatever we're deploying to be successful, I need to understand ano ba capacity na to? Ano ba naintindihan niya? Anong yung hindi niya naintindihan? For example, as simple as opening itong box na to, natatakot sila gawin, right? So these are real problems. But you have to go and kausapin mo kung sino kung sino ba talaga yung magiging in charge yan in the future. Right? Kasi yung approach namin in Mobility Vision Plus is we have a tech, but we're ensuring whatever tech we're deploying can be sustained within the organization. Hindi yung the entire thing they would always need to rely on us. We don't want that. I mean, obviously we have ambitions in the startup that we want to expand globally everywhere in the world. But we have to start here. When I say you have to look at the problems and needs of your customers, it's everyone in the ecosystem. It's up until the mayor. Itong staff na to, di niya kilala yan, sigurado ako. Hindi kilala ni Vico yan. Pero I had to figure out kung paano ba yung connection sa mga to, paano ba sila nag-uusap. Ito mga traffic enforcers ng Pasig yan. I was talking with them. Tinatry ko intindihin on ano ba yung technical capacity nila. May sense ba ipilit ko tong app na to, hindi naman nila magagamit. Or paano? Paano ko siya kayang simplify to a certain level na, okay. Mas madali yon compared kung ipapagawa ko sa kanila ng manual. Kasi majority of cases, ginagawa naman nila manual. Yung mga, like counting, for example, they do it manually. But if you teach them how this simplifies that, then slowly can see changes. But it's not hard. Kaya if you ever go to the realm of startups or if you have an idea you want to push somewhere, talk to everyone who's involved. No one's too small for you. If you have to wipe the floor, wipe the floor. If you have to clean the toilet, clean the toilet. right? If you do need to do the plumbing job, you do the plumbing job. Lahat yun kailangan mo maintindihan. You cannot be a good decision maker, leader of an idea if you don't understand end-to-end anong issues. Right. I mean, okay. Tapos ito, one example lang. Yung goal namin in Mobility Vision Plus, as I mentioned earlier, is to really cut down the time duration of how we study whatever you want to study in a city. Ganito kasi nag-work yung LGUs natin. They will never come up with a grand plan to solve everything. Usually from the day to day, may mga ilan lang within 1 year they have an allocated budget, they want to fix something, or even they just want to justify yung project nila, hindi nila magawa kasi nasa stuck na siya dun sa study area pa lang kasi it takes years before the result comes out. Pag labas na ng result, wala nang pakialam yung counselor dun sa budget mo. Sabi niya, hiningi mo yan last year, but humingi ka na naman, di mo naman ginamit. So that's like the ultimate goal. I think we're kind of close to this, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Final advice is, especially if you want to turn your idea into a startup. Yung startup definition ko is the typical startup, where you need to make a lot of money. Charge what you are worth. Right. And there's no right way to do it. To be honest, even I struggle with this even until today. Kailangan mo i-test out. Di natin alam eh. There are certain clients who would want to work with you, but they cannot afford you. Right? But that's okay. Baka hindi sila yung tamang client mo. Right? The other side of it, like kunwari sa amin, with Mobility Vision Plus, we do a lot of free work. Not because we're a charity, but we need to build our platform. We're nagta-trial and error pa kami in many cases. So pag meron super interested makipag-collab sa amin pero wala silang pera. Usually these are NGOs, hindi cities. Hindi kami tumatanggap ng free work for LGUs kasi may pera naman LGU. And they're using it in the stupidest ways possible if you think about it. If you actually look at their budget, majority nung naka-line item doon, walang kwentang projects. So you charge what you are worth, but make sure whatever you're charging for is actually worth it, right? It's not a product that you love, pero wala silang pake. It should be a product that they love. Right. And to quote Y Combinator, it's the biggest accelerator in the world. Yung motto nila is build a product that somebody likes. So I'll end there, I think. That's it. So yeah, I'll end there. You can follow me on TikTok. I talk about mobility on my TikTok. I recently nire-revive ko na ulit siya. And if you're interested to stay there, you can always reach out to me if you have any questions. But yeah, I think we can take some questions or yeah.
Everyone, let's give a round of applause to Sir Cyrus Gomari. So for questions, just from the audience, first participants, do you have questions? If none yet, let's start with the officers. So
Hello, Sir Cyrus. This really interesting. Sorry. It's a really interesting idea for mobility vision. What do you envision? What do you envision Philippines society, especially urban centers, to look like in the next 5 to 10 years? Or what do you want it to look like?
I, I want it to be walkable. That's it. It varies low level lang na ano yun. Not, obviously, I have a lot of targets in mind, pero I think it's achievable in the next 5 to 10 years. At least all of our urban centers will be fully walkable. And that's what our tech does to show which areas you can improve slowly on a very micro scale. Right? Kaya you will never hear our name in projects relating to railway because railway projects are kind of more or less the same all over the world. you can't do much more innovation to speed railway construction. It is very slow, it's very expensive. Pero kami, yung focus namin is like, yan, yung target na sinabi ko. In 5 to 10 years, we want to make all of these urban centers or residential neighborhoods very pedestrian friendly. Is because slowly, nagbibigay kami ng recommendations. Itong corner, constituents mo yan, mayor. Approve yan, boto yan. Ganun ba? Pero ganun kayo may pag-usap, on how we sell the solution to them.
Okay po, thank you.
From our participants, okay.
Ako may tanong ko, sir. I tried downloading the app, and is the app for us like normal people lang, or is it for...
Okay. So, okay, konting background lang. Kasi initially, I was thinking of going the crowdsourcing path. But very fast, in like 1 month, I noticed this thing is too expensive. Unless there is a direct benefit to the user, they won't use the app freely, right? Google Maps, you get routing, right? You get travel time estimations, so it's clear kung ano yung binibigay sa'yo. Pero ito, open siya to the public, still, we keep it open to the public. But now we've pivoted to focusing on collection on an LGU level. So we train people at the LGU on how to collect data. So yeah, I mean, we've changed a lot of things since the first version of this. But we started it thinking that it could be crowdsourced. We could organize yung mga rants ng mga tao sa social media. But we might get there at some point. It's just right now, business-wise, it makes no sense. Kasi we'll have to spend so much money getting people on the platform, pero hindi siya sustainable kasi there's no direct benefit still until now. But there are certain features na by access lang siya nakukuha. So it's in the same app, pero kailangan bigyan namin ng access. Like yung feature namin for public transport stuff, hindi siya publicly available. Yeah.
Ito. Are there other questions po from the crowd? Po. Sige, let's have from Optima Prime.
Hi, sir. So, good afternoon po. You mentioned, I mean, it's a common theme here already, that we want to promote active mobility. But then the main issue is, sir, how would you promote, from your own opinion, how would you promote active mobility when in fact the needs or like the establishments or the academic institutions are further from the residential sites of our own people? Like when you need to access them primarily or favorably through public transport.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, Eris, nagtanong ng data from Eris. Nakuha niyo ba yung average distance ng OD sa Metro Manila? Pero maliit, di ba? Or similar to other countries, which is below 5 kilometers. Yeah. So majority of our trips, contrary to what people think on social media, they're short trips. Vast majority of trips. Obviously, okay, with maraming contextualization kasi dito. Obviously, the real estate market is pushing people further away from their jobs. That's a reality. Kaya meron certain notions that majority of people are traveling 4 hours or okay, sige, tanggalin natin yung time, distance na lang. That they're traveling 50 kilometers a day or something. But if you think about it, paano ba yung algorithm ng social media? It's the things that can be sensationalized. Right? You're not going to sensationalize 1 kilometer travels. So there's a possibility na there's this bias that a lot of trips are long distance. Kaya sinasabi, di naman pwede i-bike yan. Pero majority of our trips are below 5 kilometers, which are absolutely bikeable. To give you an example, in Munich, In Germany, I never had a desire to own a car. I still don't own a car. Um, Kasi every day doon, even though I was working for BMW, I was biking to work 6 kilometers per direction. And very doable talaga siya. Kung safe yung infrastructure for you to get to where you need to get. Obviously, we need to provide shading so that it's comfortable. Um, or e-bikes. Actually, e-bikes need to become more popular. Yung e-bikes na ano, pedal assist, hindi yung e-trike na uh, pang grocery. Yung mga pedal assist bikes, I think those things could take off in the Philippines. Kasi you don't sweat as much. So our promotion or the technologies ideas we push through, they need to highlight the advantages of certain modes like pedal assist bikes and to provide data like our platform will eventually provide information about like yun, yung average distances between trips to show the reality of gaano ba kahaba talaga yung travel time, ilang percent ng tao na if they know how to bike, obviously that's another thing. They could bike. Ang ano na, I think what gets misunderstood a lot of times between advocacy groups and different sectors is um, yung lumalabas kasi parang pinipilit lahat ng tao magbike. Pero hindi naman ganoon. Right? At the end, we just need a healthy modal share. Na, let's say 20% bikes, public transport should be highest. For us to actually be mobile enough, it should be around 60 to 70%, which we are at in Metro Manila. Di naman tayo, ano majority still use public transport despite the state of public transport that we have. Ang interesting nga, was it last Christmas, I remember. I mean, this is anecdotal. I don't have clear data, but it seemed like a lot of people, whatever extra income they have during Christmas or I don't know, at Valentine's Day or any of these special days, they use the extra income to either drive, to rent a car, or use Grab or any of these ride hailing. Kasi napansin ko, anytime there are these events, kasi I use Grab quite a lot. Napapansin ko pag tuwing mga gantong time, sobrang hirap mag-book. So that only means there are certain individuals who are willing to pay just to have that extra comfort during these periods. It's very sad, to be honest. And I don't want that to happen. And di ako galit pag hindi ako nakakabook sa ganyan. Nafo-frustrate ako na, the extra additional income that they could have spent, I don't know, have a nicer dinner, ginagastos sila sa Grab. It's like, that's not humane, right? Tapos nakita ko din at the same time, I think it was November or mga December na yun, may post ng video na nakasakay sila sa MRT. Hindi puno, hindi siksikan. So yun nga, it might be that the extra additional income they have, they're spending it on Grab. Just to have that 1-2 days of extra comfort to get to the places they want to get. Right. But if we can figure out how to get the right data to represent these events, that's a difference maker, right? And then obviously, I think the bigger challenge is how do we build a relationship with our decision makers and politicians? How do we sell it to them? That's the biggest challenge I personally think that exists. There's a lot of good tech already. We have a lot of good people who could scientifically solve problems. But unfortunately, majority of those people who are good in science, they don't want to deal with the politicians. But that's what we're doing. That's why I'm here. And specifically, we're very active in kami talking with different politicians all over the Philippines.
Questions from the participants? In the online, in Zoom, do we have questions? Okay. So I think that it for the question and answer portion. Now let's move on the awarding of certificates. So once again, thank you, Sir Cyrus Gomari, And let's give him a round of applause, everyone. Now, I'm calling the head of PJDSC, the director of UPDSOC, and the Interlog manager, Jess, Lance, and Mia, to join us in the stage to award this Certificate of Appreciation. Certificate of Appreciation, this certificate is gratefully presented to Cyrus Gomari in sincere appreciation of your time, expertise, and invaluable insights on business solutions in urban mobility, innovations, and impacts shared during the 2024 Philippine Junior Data Science Challenge. Your contribution under the theme Driving Innovation, Harnessing Data Science for Sustainable Urban Mobility has significantly enriched the knowledge and understanding of participants, helping them navigate the complex challenges of sustainable urban development through data science. Given this fifth day of October 2024 at the Department of Information and Communications Technology, Audiovisual Room, Diliman, Quezon City. So yes, here's the certificate. Warm up applause, everyone. Thank you.